Hey folks, I want to welcome you back here to Handicap Manor. We got something new for you today, and we want to thank you for following along with us. Today, I've got a light to put on the front of my Jeep. We're going to put it on the front here. So right now I'm starting to get the layout, starting to get everything cut for it. Let me show you the light. Okay, this is the light. And then we're going to cut the mounting bracket out of this angle iron and some flat steel I've got over there to make the mount. So I'm going to take you along for this ride and we'll go from there. Okay folks, now I haven't done this measurement yet, but we're going to measure between the little push bar things. Give me 32. So let's mark this at 16 to get the front center of this. And that looks about right with the center. Okay. Okay, we're going to make a relief cut here. Make a relief cut there. And we'll go back over to the fab table and we'll see what our measurements are, because that looks a little off. Huh. Looks like I missed my mark down there. So it's going to be 22. I marked my center wrong, which makes it a little bit better. Now let's see how that looks. So we know where that's going to be. Double check this again. It's going to be 25. 28 and a half. That looks better. So let's mark my mark here. And I'll mark our mark here. This is where we're going to do a relief cut and make a little bit of a bend so it fits the curve of the light bar. I don't want the light bar sticking that far off the front. I want to try to get it as close to the grill as I can. So we'll go from there. The next step will be over at the fab table again, get my relief cut, get the relief cuts made and getting it bent a little bit so it matches at the ends, and then we can start getting everything welded together and we'll go from there. Okay folks, I got the angle iron cut to the length we need. We're going to double check my length. Looks like I've got 56, so we're talking 28 inches. So we'll get that marked so I know where the center is. we'll get this marked square. I probably don't need to mark it square, but I'm going to mark it square. Just again, so I know where my center mark is. And the next step is we're going to take it over to the front of the Jeep, and we'll get it marked where we need to make the relief cuts to make it bend. So, let's see how that goes. I'll pause you here until we get over to the front of the Jeep, and we start making our marks and start figuring things out. Okay, let me show you the layout here. We've got the center mark right here, mark center. Then we come down here to this mark, and I got that as the straight line, and we got this that we're going to chop off. We're going to chop this center out. We'll do the same thing over here. That way when we bend it, we can get it bent around the headlight buckets. And then once we bend it, we can get this spot welded up. And again, the next step is we make sure everything's lined up the way we want it, and we'll go from there. I'll get this cut, and then I'll bring it back as we're going to bend it, and again, bring you guys along. Okay, folks, we're back. We got the angle iron cut, marked, bent the way we need it. Now the next step is we got to get this cleaned up at the spots where we're going to weld it. So I'm going to get it put in my trusty old vise here. Going to use the angle grinder with a wire wheel on it, as you see. And we'll go any place we're going to weld, we're going to clean that rust off and go from there. Now, one of the things you'll notice when I'm doing these cleans, I like to clean a little bit bigger area than what I actually need. That way, I know I've got the area that I need clean. I'm going to finish getting this ground up, or cleaned up, and my brackets cleaned up. And I'll bring it back to see where we're going to line it up on the Jeep and start getting the mounting bracket tacked up. Well, I got my glove and I grabbed my welding jacket. I'm going to throw the welding jacket over my leg so I don't get too burnt. There's that. Woohoo! Didn't get the jacket covering spot. That's kind of warm. That's a couple better tacks. Yeah, when I got my eyes open. Wife just yelled at me about my eye protection. I love you too, honey. Okay. Yeah. Reminders from the wife of what I got to do. Okay, let's shut this off. Let's reposition over to the fab table, and we'll get all this welded in. Well, folks, I got all the welding done on this, I think. Now the key is I'm going to get my grinder. I got my safety eyes on. I'm going to take my grinder and try and clean up these welds just a little bit. That one's still a little warm. I want it to look fairly good on the front of my Jeep. So let's get on to some grinding here, and let's see how this goes. Okay, that one looks good. Let me get the rest of this ground off, and you guys can follow along as we come back, and we'll see what we get into when we come back. Okay, here we are. We got everything laid out here on the table that we need. Got my bracket, which is all cleaned up and ready to go. I've got it spot welded. Got my cutter. I got my little slag hammer. I got everything set up here. So we're going to run a couple beads along all this. I'll take you along with the first one, and we'll go from there, folks. Better put my glove on. This stuff gets hot. I've got a welding sleeve on, so I don't have to have my jacket on right now. And hopefully my legs won't get anything. It'll be one of them days, I guess. Got to turn the welder on. Not too bad of a weld. Looks like, for some reason, it looks like I missed a spot. So I'm going to go back over that real quick. Maybe. Okay. Well, we'll go back over it in a minute. Looks like I might have jammed my wire, so we'll check into that. We'll go. Well, folks, I'm sorry I kind of jumped a couple steps without you, but I got the light mounted on the mount to give you an idea what it's going to look like. Right now, the angle mounts for the end to hold it to the light to the bracket, I've got them bent. I've got them C-clamped to the mount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tack these a couple spots on each side. I might even full weld one edge of these, and then I can take the light off and fully weld them in. So again, I apologize. I did a couple steps without you guys. I don't particularly care to do that. I like to bring you along on everything. But let's get the welder fired back up. Let's give this a nice little bead. And we'll go from there, folks. Well, looks like I'm not going to have a decent ground right there. So let's go get the ground. And let's put it down here on this end. I've got both ends ground, but I'm not quite sure why it's not giving me a good ground. We'll try that this time. It's a lot closer. I like to run my ground as close as I can sometimes, but then there are times it just gets in the way. So let's see how this one works. That'll work on this end. Right now with the sun on my back, I'm having a little difficulty seeing what I'm trying to do. So I'll get the other end welded the same way. Then I'll take the light off and I will completely weld it in. Then I guess the next step's going to be mounting it to the front of the Jeep to see exactly how we like it. We'll bring you along, folks. Okay, folks. We are, excuse the noise, we are ready to put the mount on. In the background over here, we got the wife and the Nugget doing our pre-potting, getting that stuff pre-planted and getting it ready to go in the garden. They've got that stuff going. When I get this mounted up, I'll turn you around and we'll show you what they got going. I gave this mount a quick paint job to kind of help protect it from the elements a little bit. I cut it down in height a little bit. I think I got the wrong bolts in that. So we'll do a redo on that. Let me go get the right bolts. Yep, that's the right bolts. These just have to be a little bit bigger than the ones that are in it. These are the bolts that hold the license plate. And I'm not putting the license plate back on. So that's better. We might come in and put another mount on here to help hold this a little bit, but that might be for another day. We'll see how this vibrates today. And if it'll tighten up while and not wave around too bad while while the light's on it. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the little one up back there. Transplanting some of their tomatoes, and she said the one looks sad. And yeah, now for those who've been following along with this, the tomatoes that she's working on were the tomatoes that were in the jar when we did our microgreens. Same tomatoes. She's picking out the better ones. Her and the baby, they're picking out the better ones while we're out here working. So, like I say, when I get this put on here, we'll I'll turn you around and we'll follow them for a little while and see how their stuff's going. Thought we were going to have an issue there. I dropped one of the washers and the bolt. Luckily, I found the bolt. I got some cardboard. Give me a couple minutes. And I've got some wood and metal and all kinds of things. Okay, got that side tightened up. Get that one raised up to the top. Well, folks, we'll do the wiring later in another video. So, there it is. Let me take you off your tripod here. Well, there it is. So we'll stop this here. We'll take another look at it. Well, folks, this is Onis coming back to you from Handicapped Manor. I really enjoy when you guys come along with me and give me a hand with all these things. Again, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and just stop by here in Garrett, Kentucky. Just stop by and see us. We'd love to visit with people. We love to talk to people. We just love to see people when they come through. So, again, we are Handicapped Manor. And come visit us. We love you all. God bless. And we'll see you soon.